Hey everybody, this is Skybase talking. So for this SideTrip painting, I had this idea that there was a country in the SideTrip universe that was basically an adding machine. It's a giant adding machine. The whole country is the size of it, and every single area that it could potentially take over is a calculator. So what is it basically doing? It's essentially calculating everything. So that includes the behavior of animals, the plant life. It's a simulator, and it's essentially made of a bunch of gears that rotate extremely slowly, that it appears abandoned. Now, when Azure and Alex visit this, they start climbing on top of it, and they realize how almost pointlessly large this is. But they're also looking for something here that they need, and, well, we won't discuss into what they exactly need here, but because this isn't necessarily the video to talk about that. Anyway, given the background, I decided to go with this idea of having a bunch of gears that are just kind of appear abandoned. So I wanted to have this kind of lighting where it feels a little nostalgic, it feels a little sad. I wanted to have this sort of brightness to it. I still wanted to appear as though these guys had a little bit of a future going on, that these gears are still like kind of being used in a sense. Okay, so I'm kind of adjusting the shading here, trying to make things look nice. I'm trying to figure out stuff, and I later realized that I don't necessarily need the volumetric lighting in Modo because I could utilize Photoshop for that, and I'd removed it. So some of the gears are a little bit colliding. Part of it is because I am utilizing a particle system, Modo's particle cloud, and replicator to generate that. Okay, so I rendered that out very quickly, and just kind of started paint right on top of it. And this is the part where I kind of realized that things were getting a little bit messy. So some of the areas were just a little problematic, I think. And I found that whenever I was working on it, some of the paint systems that I was using kind of like kept on colliding on each other. So I had to fix that later, which you'll see in like one frame of this entire thing how I fixed it, and I'll explain it properly. But anyway, I'm adding some grass and moss here just to indicate how old this thing is. It's not abandoned again, but it's just kind of like old. And I add a bunch of new layers to this. So I'm adding another layer, I'm adding another layer of detail here, just kind of like interesting stuff visually. And since I was done with it, I throw this into Clip Studio Paint and start doing my thing. Just adding in the character. So the character is always looking away from the camera, and that's just part of it because it just doesn't seem natural if he's looking at the camera. It just doesn't feel right to me. But that's just me. I'm not too sure if everyone else feels that way. Okay, so I added in a layer from Modo, and I turned on cell shading, and I also added outlines to the edges. And this way it kind of hints at the geometry a little bit better, and also makes it look a little nicer. So this made it really pop at the very end, but it also kind of lost some of the detail in between. Now I'm starting to struggle with the colors here. I'm trying to wonder if if I'm doing something right or if I'm doing something wrong, and I start to get closer to what I want. I wanted to have the lighting to be appear nostalgic in a way, just kind of like subtle and sad, but at the same time hopeful, like there's something to it that this machine is capable of doing. I'm adding in some lighting here. This is just making a selection and duplicating it, and then screening it. Very simple method of adding lighting. And I start to add in a little bit of alternative shading here, just to add some color, a hint of it, and some atmospherics. I'm using Filter Forge to add some noise. Just gonna let it render. From this point on, it's pretty simple. This is a matter of doing almost like just regular photo editing. I also wanted to make it appear like as if this lighting was bright. I wanted to have this atmospheric, so I added in a layer of a dodge and burn. At this point, I'm close to finishing, but I'm not quite done yet. I wanted to do some effects on it just to make it a little bit more floaty, like almost dreamlike. And adjusting the colors even further. And this does take a little bit of time. I spent probably like 30 minutes to 1 hour on it. relatively a very tedious but simple process. It's just a matter of adjusting things. And finally, I just wanted to have another layer of noise just to give it a little bit of a wash to it and just kind of add some detail to it. Alright, so here's the final picture. If anyone has any specific questions, please feel free to leave a comment and please subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.